Good day, friends. This is Robert West. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Topic of this video is Iran launches attack on a U.S. military base in Qatar. Before we start, just want to thank all the new viewers to the channel. Really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It's free of charge. It'll help our channel grow a little bit. All right, let's get into this, guys. So, Iran, after they were attacked by the United States on Saturday, they had three primary sites, nuclear sites, that were attacked. And they did, through social media and stuff, say that they were going to retaliate, respond, and they did. However, this is a little bit unusual. At least it's not the normal thing that countries do when they're attacked. They contacted the government of Qatar and coordinated their response with the government of Qatar, meaning they told them where they were going to attack, when they were going to attack, basically what types of weapons they were going to use. And then Qatar informed the United States, so the United States was prepared. And because of that, there was no deaths, no injuries that's been reported. And even Trump on his social media indicated that Iran warned us first before. So some experts, and I'm not an expert, I don't pretend to be an expert, but I do have an opinion like everybody else. Some experts believe that was a sign of de-escalation because of that. Now, I want to say one thing about our previous attack, the United States attack on Iran. Shortly after it was completed, Trump and a few of his cabinet members came on national television and claimed it was a resounding success, even before the proper assessment was completed. You have to do bomb damage assessment, and sometimes that can take a while. These structures, especially the main structure that they were targeting, was underground, very hard to get, and bombs that were used to, or what they call bunker busters, had never been used before in any action whatsoever. They've only been used in testing before. So they haven't actually done the job previously. So, of course, the next day, there's a press conference at the Pentagon with the Secretary Whiskey Pete and General Kane. And as always, Hegseth was overconfident of how great it went. And the general said, we have to wait and see the bomb damage assessment. Well, damage assessment came out. There's some destruction, but whether or not they got the facility so it's destroyed, that appears not to be the case. And whether or not they destroyed the enriched uranium, that also appears not to be the case. How do we know that? Well, prior to the attack by the United States, there was lots of activity around these sites, lots of trucks. Some analysts believe these trucks loaded up the enriched uranium and took it somewhere else. Trump was indicating multiple times on social media that we might attack, we might attack, we might attack. It's going to be this 2 weeks. It's going to be this or that. Frankly, he's got a big mouth. And pretending that there was negotiations as a distraction is absurd when you're dealing with an adversary that is at the level of Iran. Iran doesn't have anywhere near the capabilities that the United States has. They don't have anywhere near the capabilities as the United Kingdom has. And they certainly don't have the capabilities that the Israelis have. So the idea that they weren't going to move things and move people out of there to protect their enriched uranium and the lives of their people. We're probably talking some scientists, some engineers, whatever it might be down there. It makes more sense that they did move a lot of these things if they didn't move all of these things. There was no radiation detected, which experts believe is an indication that they may not have gotten that stuff. So what be the point? If you want to slow down the program a little bit, that probably did it. The Israeli attack previously probably did it. And this program could be set back 2 or 3 years. So that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. But it appears that Iran, by coordinating their attack with the Qatari government, who then informed the United States with advance notice. So basically what they're saying is, we need to show our people we're responding, we're fighting back, but we don't want anybody to get hurt. Frankly, that sounds like people that would have been willing to negotiate if we didn't have an orange idiot in charge ruining the negotiations. Now, it is true. Iran had 5 rounds of talks and didn't get anywhere. But that's not because so much of they weren't interested. Something that it's not talked about much, but you should know. Originally, Trump's position was you can't have a nuclear weapon, but you can enrich uranium enough for your nuclear power facilities. This is very similar to the deal that President Obama and his team negotiated when he was president, that Donald Trump pulled out of in 2018 for God knows what reason. Okay. And that level was up at around, I think they were able to enrich up to like 4%. Okay. Now, weapons grade uranium enrichment is minimum at 70, but ideally it's 90+%. So that's we had a good deal in place. And then Trump was saying they were allowed to do that. And then he totally flipped. He talked to somebody and said, no, you can't enrich uranium at all. Well, of course they have to enrich uranium to power their nuclear facilities, no matter what. Now, in defense, I'm not here to defend Donald Trump. He's indefensible. But they had uranium enriched to 60%. Why were they doing that? I don't know. The intelligence community doesn't really know either. Even though they assessed that there wasn't a plan in place, there's something else may be going on. What may be going on is while the Ayatollah is technically the leader of the country, because of his advanced age, he may not be running things, and somebody else is running things. And that may have been why they're enriching uranium at 60%. So who knows what the situation is? I'm not privy to any of this stuff. I'm no longer in the service. I haven't been in the service. I got out in 1991 after a stint in the Persian Gulf War. So, but I was over there. I was in Saudi Arabia and then Bahrain during Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And then probably like a month and a half, 2 months after I returned to the United States to my base, I completed my 4-year term. I had to apply for an out of the Air Force. And then I went back to school. So so I actually have some real experience. We do have bases in Bahrain. At the time, those bases were kind of in the desert. Now it's more of naval bases. But so that's what's going on. But it looks like Iran is de-escalating and looking to do something. I think we would have had a deal had Trump not changed his position, as he always changes his position. The man is not stable. Now, if he didn't want them enriching uranium, we could have offered to provide the enriched uranium at market prices, of course. And then let's say in 5 years, we can come back and talk about it again. As long as Iran would behave themselves. But this guy doesn't think that way. He's not a leader. He's a clown. And when you're a clown, you do clownish stuff. This time around, he doesn't have the personnel around him with the experience needed to manage a conflict like this. Really, he doesn't. His vice president, no. He barely became a senator, and then he became vice president. The Secretary of State, no. Secretary of Defense, guy drinks too much. Secretary of Homeland Security, Ice Barbie, who plays cosplay all the time, no. These are not serious people in any way, shape, or form. His Director of National Intelligence never had an intelligence job before, and even said that their assessment, which is the assessment of all the agencies combined, was wrong. So he doesn't trust his intelligence agency. So this is a bad thing. But the idea that Iran limited their response to one area, it was pre-planned. The United States knew about it through Qatar. It shows the signs of peace. But honestly, if this does work out, it's by no means on him. He didn't do anything. He is the arsonist that then tries to put out the fire. We had a deal. They weren't going to enrich above 4%. They were complying with the deal. We had inspectors on the ground watching every move. For a couple of years, they did not enrich uranium at all. And then this guy blows it up in 2018 because his ego won't let having Obama do anything or Biden do anything. All he does is blame. They're all idiots. They're all idiots. No. It's a projection. He's the idiot. He's not the smart guy. He lies all the time. How he won, God knows. A lot of people who screwed around are now finding out. And especially if they have a lot of family members that might not be here lawfully, they're getting a fast trip right out of the country. So that's what we got. That's where we're at right now. All right, friends, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, I'd really appreciate it if you did so. It doesn't cost you a penny, helps the channel grow a little bit. And we shall see you in the next